She was the daughter of very Christian parents, Mr. Jose Diaz Moreno and Mrs. Victoria Bustos de Molina. Now, Victoria's child Blessed Victoria Diaz was born in Seville, Spain on November 11th, 1903. She was the daughter of very Christian parents, Mr. Jose Diaz Moreno and Mrs. Victoria Bustos de Molina. Now, Victoria's childhood developed in the austere realism of a modest family and in the warm climate of a close-knit home. The love of her parents, focused on her, was an important factor in the development of her personality. The deep Christian faith and the great love that reigned in the family are two traits called to grow and characterize her. As the years went by, Victoria soon developed a special liking for artistic artworks that she would later channel by studying drawing and painting at the School of Fine Arts in Seville, while also studying to become a teacher. She had many fine human qualities and a deep faith expressed in an intense spiritual life. Victoria recognized that her teaching was an important ministry. She once said, "Praying before the Blessed Sacrament, I find the strength, courage, light, and all the love I need to help those entrusted to me on the way of salvation." In 1931, the Spanish Republic was established. The disorder that followed this revolutionary action paved the way for the outbreak of the Civil War in 1936 between those who defended the church and those who opposed it. Especially in 1936 and 1937, there was a violent persecution of the church in which hundreds of bishops, priests, and religious died. No count could be kept of the even greater number of lay Catholics executed, often simply because they wore a medal or carried a rosary. At the start of the Spanish Civil War, there was an attack on the church in Hornachuelos, the small town where Victoria lived and taught. Those who knew Victoria say that she was an excellent rural school teacher who fulfilled her professional obligations without compromising her faith. This is what put her life at risk. This is what Victoria lived during her 8 years as a teacher in Hornachuelos. Diaz often came into conflict with the authorities due to her refusal to remain silent about her faith, which was well noted across the area among those who she came into contact with. Early on, she felt drawn to making a radical commitment to God, eventually joining the Theresian Association in Seville in 1928. Besides fulfilling her professional obligations, Victoria organized Catholic action groups and night courses for working women. She extended the school buildings, organized support and help to needy families, and set in place religious instruction for the children. And when government regulations decreed that public school teachers could not be involved in religious instruction in their own church, she trained the mother and women of the town so that the catechesis could continue. Small and with poor health, Victoria soon earned the respect and support of all. That is why, on the morning of August 11th, 1936, the people could not believe that the teacher had been taken to jail. Civil war had broken out in Spain, and there was chaos in the streets of many cities. She once said, "If it is necessary to give one's life to identify with Christ, our divine model, from today, I cease to exist for the world, because my life is Christ, and dying is gain." In 1934, supporters of the Second Republic burned down the church. Death hovered over her head, but she knew that no one could destroy the soul. She continued to attend Mass, listen to the priest's invitation to forgiveness and peace in the midst of a threatening environment. On August 11th, 2 militiamen showed up to take her away. The time has come. She serenely, as if she had been waiting for this moment, tries to reassure her mother that everything will be well. She says her goodbyes and leaves. They took her to a house converted into a prison. There, she was left alone, the only woman detained in a room with bars that overlooked everywhere. And there her girls go to see her. Those who saw her through the bars remember her sitting, serene, with a collected attitude, her hands together, like when she was at Mass. The next morning, at dawn, Victoria and 17 men were taken out of their detention place and, all tied up, were forced to walk 8 miles through a mountain trail to a deserted area where there was an abandoned mine. During the 3-hour journey, several men collapsed, but Victoria urged them on and said, "Take heart, I see the heavens opening. The prize awaits us," and said this in full awareness that death was approaching. There were some witnesses that watched the events from the fields. "Just say, 'Long live the Republic,' and you will be free," shouted the militiamen. But Victoria, with her arms in the air and with a closed fist, she shouted, "Long live Christ the King." Shots were fired. As the bullets ripped through her stomach, from Victoria's fist falls a small image of the Blessed Mother. Now, Blessed Victoria Diaz knew that believing well and remaining silent is not possible, and she believed to the limit of giving her life, and she handed it over that morning of August the 12th, after having traveled the last stretch on foot. May her story encourage and motivate us to speak the truth, and to live loud and proud our Catholic faith in a world that seeks to silence the truth. Let us remember that we Catholics exist to challenge the world. So let us go forth as warriors, shouting from the very tops of our lungs, "Long live Christ the King." Blessed Victoria Diaz, pray for us.